Hello everyone, thank you for coming to watch. I've got you guys an update on a massive severe weather outbreak that is currently impacting the central United States. We have a lot of things to go over in this video because we have some potentially life-saving information with these just massive severe weather events that are currently ongoing and will be ongoing in the United States. So let's get right into it. Alright, so taking a look here at your current radar. Actually, just before that, I just wanted to say that I apologize for not uploading the past few days. It has been so incredibly busy. Davis, you can explain. It's just been so crazy. Just, give them an overview of what has happened in the past, week.
I mean, we've had tornado emergencies, PDSs every day. I mean, it's just really sad stuff to see, and it's a lot of it that we weren't even expecting. But yeah, he definitely has been putting in his weather community service hours that he's being forced to do because he's been helping me on my live streams quite a bit. But yeah, we've been really busy, which is why there's been a lack of forecasts.
Yeah, I've been doing a ton of live streams with him. So we had tornado emergencies. One being in Iowa, one being in Nebraska. One of them where we didn't have tornado emergency on this one, but there was a PDS tornado in Oklahoma. I don't remember how many days after, but that one was rated EF4. Okay, so we've been seeing towns and communities all over the United States just get devastated by tornadoes. So I thank you all for the recent support. I have been posting a lot of shorts though, so thank you all so much for that. And congrats, Davis, on 1,000 subscribers. That's awesome, dude.
Thank you.
But yeah, Davis is gonna be joining us on the show tonight. But let's get rocking and rolling. Taking a look here at the south central United States. We're looking at satellite. Look at all this convection that's just popping off down here. You can see all that down pretty much from Nebraska down all the way to Texas, and then all the way down to Mexico. We just have a lot of convection going on, so a lot of high cloud tops, meaning some big time thunderstorms. And then this is our angry storm that's currently moving its way on the northwestern United States coastline. This is what's going to bring all that severe weather in. Look at that comma-shaped, low. That's a surface low. That's going to be really just not good for the United States, and that's going to be the pain in the back that's going to be bringing our next round of severe weather. So let's get looking at your alerts here. And you can see we'll start out in the western United States. All right, so in the purple shade, you have winter weather advisories that's going out for Northern California, Northern Nevada, and portions of Oregon. In the tan shade, you have wind advisories. In the gold shade, you have high wind warnings. In the brown shade, which is going out for northern Arizona through Utah and then western Colorado, you have high wind watches. In the pink shade, the hot pink shade, you have red flag warnings. We have some critical fire conditions out there into New Mexico, so please, please, please don't mess with anything flammable. Not only if you're, even if you're not in the red flag warning, you still definitely wouldn't want to mess with anything flammable outside if it's dry and windy. All right, but you have a severe thunderstorm watch for southern portions of Nebraska. You have western Kansas. You have extreme eastern Colorado, the panhandle of Oklahoma, and northern Texas. And at the moment, at the time of filming the video, I believe we have a not a PDS tornado. Dave's we have a confirmed tornado on the ground in Nebraska, so still some very tornadic supercells, as we do also have a tornado watch for central Texas that meets up with another severe thunderstorm watch in that pink shade. You have flood watches in the green shade for portions of Oklahoma and Texas, dense fog advisories for Mississippi, western Tennessee, and a few other counties here across the deep south. But yeah, that's going to be pretty much it for your alerts. So, we take a look at your SBC outlook, alright? So, today we got up to an enhanced risk. It's been I can't even count how many enhanced risk days we've had in a row, but we had another enhanced risk today. This is now downgraded to a slight risk, thankfully, but we still have a 5% tornado threat that's inside the same area as the tornado watch that's currently in effect for Texas. Surrounding areas of that, you're in the 2%, which is in the green shade, right? The wind shade, or the wind risk, you have two areas with a 15% risk. That's in the yellow shade. That's for southern Texas into western Kansas, southern Nebraska and the panhandle of Oklahoma. That is in the yellow shade. That is non-hatched, but yes, that is considered in at least a slightly elevated damage and wind threat. Surrounding areas of that, you're in the 5% brown shade. Damaging hail threat, you still have a 15% hatched for these areas that are in the shaded area. That's in the yellow shade for the 15%. There's also another one up into Kansas and Nebraska, and then surrounding areas of that, you're in the 5%. Davis, what are your thoughts on that or today's SBC outlook?
Yeah, I feel like at this point, most of the storms down in Texas and Oklahoma, they're probably done for tonight. But our secondary mode of storms in the plains is really just getting going. We're starting to see a bow echo shape start to develop on a line of storms currently across portions of southern Nebraska and north Kansas. That's going to continue to sweep through the plains there and potentially cause some damage, winds, large hail. I wouldn't rule out an isolated tornado or two. We actually do have a tornado on the ground once again at the time of filming. But yeah, definitely some pretty intense weather throughout the rest of the night for parts of the plains.
Yeah, I think this is definitely going to be a damaging wind producer with that bow segment. If you look at radar, if you are watching this video like minutes after, if you look at radar, you'll see what we're talking about. There is a massive bow echo on radar. That's just it's a big line of storms that's producing damage wind gusts. All right, here's day two. Day two, we have another enhanced risk. I mean, once again, I can't even count how many enhanced risks we've had in a row, but there's another one tomorrow. And yes, unfortunately, this is driven by a 10% hatch tornado threat, which means Ryan Hoyle will most likely be going live for this event. So, I mean, that's a good thing because we have very good coverage of the event. But that means that there's a very high, or at least a very elevated chance, I should say, of a tornado within 25 miles of a point. That is down into Texas near the Panhandle, or I guess not near the Panhandle, but that's into southern Texas, really west central. Can't even get my region straight. But anyways, that's in the yellow shade where the 10% hatched is. Surrounding areas of that, you're in the 5% brown shade. That's not including a very populated area, so that's the good news. And that also means that we're going to have pretty good chasing country, so there'll be a lot of escape routes and just a lot of flat, open fields. So hopefully not, if we see tornadoes tomorrow, which I'm pretty confident that we will see tornadoes tomorrow, hopefully they won't impact as many structures as they could if they were in different regions. And then the green shade, you have a 2% 2% non-hatch tornado threat. All right, damage wind threat for tomorrow. You have a 15% risk that's in the yellow shade, and then you have a very large and kind of extended 5% damage wind threat in the brown shade. All right, and then the hail threat, it's a 30% hatch, and I'm going to tell you guys, we could have hail sizes up to potentially softball size. And I know right now, I think we have a tornado watch that's up for grapefruit size hail. So we're talking about absolutely massive damaging hail. And so if you are in a severe thunderstorm that's warned for hail, I mean, any, size of hail, you just want to make sure you're staying away from windows because you do not want to be, impacted by flying glass because like a 4 inch in diameter hailstone smashes through your window. You just don't want that happening. All right. But that may be the case for a lot of people out there that are in the 30% and 15% hatch risk out into western Texas. And then in the brown shade, that's the 5%. You have a 5% chance of seeing damaging large hail. Davis, what are your thoughts on that?
But yeah, I mean, I do think that tomorrow is going to be pretty intense. I can't tell you the last time that we had a 10% hatch tornado risk in West Texas, close to New Mexico. It's an odd event, all right, but I definitely think that tornadoes, hail, wind, they're all going to be in play. But again, tornadoes and hail are probably going to be the greatest threats. I do think we will see one or two strong tornadoes, but I'm not expecting anything too crazy at the minute.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so here's day three. Day three, I'm not expecting that much. This is one that kind of literally the next severe weather event slowly dies down, and it made me thinking, thank God that this thing is finally over. This literal week straight of intense severe weather. I have bad news for you because this is in our face. All right, you have another ugly looking 30% day four out 30% enhanced risk. So basically what this means is that this is when the National Weather Service, or sorry, oh my gosh, the SPC, this is when the SPC only issues enhanced risks for days anywhere from days 4 to day 8. Okay, so these are considered very rare, and this is like the third one of this year. All right, and it's like the second one of April, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, but this is equivalent to an enhanced risk in the orange shade. That's a 30% risk of already seeing a severe one thunderstorm that's that's in extreme north central Oklahoma up through central Kansas and southern Nebraska. I expect this region to expand. This includes, unfortunately, a very populated area of already over 1 million people, even though it's a very small shaded area. There still are a lot of fields out here in open country, but you do have a lot of major cities, including Wichita, Kansas, Enid, Oklahoma, Salina, Kansas, Hutchinson, Kansas, and Hastings, Nebraska. All right, and then you also do have a 15%, which is a slight risk. That's in the yellow shade. I do also expect that to get expanded. That's including Oklahoma City, Kansas City, Missouri, Omaha, Nebraska, Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Lincoln, Nebraska. Okay, and you have another day after that of a slight risk, not an enhanced risk, but you do have another slight risk in the yellow shade going up from pretty much western Arkansas all the way up towards extreme southern Wisconsin. You have another slight risk on day 6. That's back down towards Texas and the deep south. I mean, this is absolutely insane. But Davis, what are your thoughts on especially day 4, but just day 4, 5, and 6 all summed up together?
I mean, day 4, guys. This is, guys. We recently had an event where we had an EF4 tornado touchdown in Oklahoma. This is last week. All right, that event started off with a day 4 enhanced risk, and that's what we're talking about again in almost the exact same location. Now, does that mean we're guaranteed to get another strong, violent tornado? No, but there's certainly the possibility that that is the case. Again, we're talking about up to that potential. Honestly, I'd say that that's probably the ceiling for this event. But the floor is not too low. I think at the bare minimum on day 4, that of which being Monday, I believe, I think that at the very least, we're definitely going to see a few tornadoes. And then again, the ceiling, I mean, it could be as high up to strong, damaging tornadoes. And again, unfortunately, there are quite a few large cities included in those areas. Going on to day 5 and cross parts of the Mississippi River Valley, all right, I do think that the potential is going to be there for sure for some damaging winds, large hail. And I also do think an enhanced risk will likely get issued for parts of mainly eastern Iowa, northwest Illinois, and then northeastern Missouri, if I had to guess, because a lot of the models seem to be putting a specific group of storms up there at the minute that look to be pretty intense. All right, so we'll have to keep an eye out on that. And then we have to continue talking about day 6, which, again, I do think is going to be a pretty big severe weather day. But I think out of these 3, this one's probably looking the least intense. But who knows? We could still even see a few tornadoes out of this day.
Yeah, definitely. I like how you put that. All right, so like you said, we were talking about the models showing a cluster of storms where he thinks the enhanced risk will be issued. I 100% agree with him, but we're going to start to show why we're thinking about that. All right, so we're going to look at the NAM 3-kilometer model. All right, this is for the first round of severe weather. This is for what's happening tomorrow. This is kind of the leftovers of what was happening today, or actually not the leftovers. That was already 3 p.m. today. But watch as this continues to go in motion. I apologize about this thing. I mean, my computer is acting up, and for some reason, for some strange reason, this thing from my old screen recorder is still here. I don't know what's happening. I try to fix the problem. I can't. So just some technical difficulties there. So please try and ignore that as much as possible. But that will most likely be fixed in the next update. But anyways, 2 a.m. today, 2 a.m. tonight, this is what you've got. This is that massive bow segment that's producing very strong damage wind gusts. I would say up to 80 miles per hour possible from all the way really southern Nebraska down through northern Kansas. I mean, I really am concerned about some of these cities and these areas that are in the way of this because this is going to knock down trees. Big time power outages are going to be coming out from Kansas and Nebraska. All right, watch as we continue in the morning. That kind of fizzles out, but you still got some strong severe storms going up through this region. And you got northern Oklahoma that's getting inside the picture. All right, that's already for the morning tomorrow. But remember, the region that we're watching is down here. All right, and we usually don't see that many, severe weather events down into western Texas. That's where we usually have wildfires and dry conditions, but not in this case. All right, so here we go. You start to see convection starting to really burst out at about 6 p.m. Eastern time, so about 5 p.m. your time. Um, that's where we're going to start to see those strong storms fire across the area. That's going to be right around that low pressure center. So it's a very interesting and unusual setup, but this is definitely one to watch. You can see how it's so condensed. That's why that 10% has tornado threat and the enhanced risk are so small. So that's right around 6 p.m. You have some storms that are starting to fire across the region. Watch as this really expands. This is where you could have tornado producing thunderstorms, these discrete supercells. I'm worried about northern Texas. I think northern Texas may end up seeing a tornado or two get produced out of some of these storms. So it's going to be a big issue as we get into the evening and overnight hours of tomorrow night. All right, and then this really starts to expand, and now we have a full-on severe weather outbreak that's looking possible here on the NAM, going all the way down from really the border of Texas and Mexico all the way up to Oklahoma. That is something I'm very concerned about. I mean, this has got big hail and tornadoes written all over it to me. All right. But this is already 1 a.m. tomorrow. This is chugging along, and then finally, slowly starts to break apart as we get into tomorrow. But still, even to tomorrow, we have a good chance for strong severe storms down into Oklahoma, Kansas, Arkansas, and portions of Missouri. But Davis, what are your thoughts on that run of the NAM?
I mean, it's just like one event after another. I mean, one dies out, another one pops up. There's not going to be a single period. It doesn't look like where we're going to be able to catch our breath. Again, we are specifically concerned about West Texas tomorrow. And then, we kind of look ahead, and really it's the entirety of the Deep South that needs to be on alert. All right, a lot of these areas are in the slight, even some in the enhanced risk of severe weather, obviously. So I definitely do think that this run of the NAM is definitely a possibility to play out. It honestly would not surprise me. And I mean, the NAM has been doing a great job recently of predicting these severe weather events, almost spot on. So yeah, I think this is a really good run of the NAM.
Yeah, definitely. I love using the NAM because it's a very good model to look at because it's high resolution and also it's pretty accurate most of the time. But this run, just for this storm event, it's very accurate. That's what it seems like. But we move over here to our 500 millibar jet stream because we've looked at our enhanced risk for today. Now we're gonna go into the day 4 where we have that next enhanced risk that we know is in effect. Um, starting now. It's in effect for day 4. I don't know. I think that's what is that Tuesday? Is that Tuesday?
Yes. No, day 4 is Monday.
Day 4 Monday. Okay, so this is going to be for day 4. We're looking at the ingredients of severe weather. We're going to start out with our dynamics. We're going to start out with the mid to low level jet winds. All right, we're going to see where the strongest winds are, where our trough is going to be. The most important thing I would say with finding severe weather events is locating where your trough is and figuring out how strong it is. That's exactly what we're doing right here, okay? So, this is your jet stream right now. You can see we kind of have a zonal flow, but you do have a surface flow that's up there, way up in the Great Lakes. Watch as this thing comes in. This is barreling down through California. This is all associated with that massive storm that we saw on satellite a little bit earlier. Watch as it continues to move through, and it starts to kind of tuck in, and this is when you see this become negatively tilted. That is a strengthening storm system. Whenever you get a negatively tilted trough, I'll show you guys. This is what a negatively tilted trough looks like. All right, it's kind of dipping like that. That shows that a strengthening storm is coming your way. All right, let me make uh my pen a little bit bigger so you can see that better. But yes, that is definitely a good sign, or I guess a bad sign, but that is a sign of a strengthening storm system. That's a negatively tilted trough right there. Okay, so we now can look at how strong it is at this point. All right, we'll take a look right here. It looks like we have winds that are blowing to about 80 knots. So 80 knots for your jet stream winds are considered pretty strong. And you see that's just how it looks. It's like it's very tucked in. That's where you can get the severe weather. So it looks like severe weather could break out across areas of really the panhandle of Oklahoma, maybe southwestern Kansas. It really just depends on the thermodynamics as well. But I think this is matching up pretty decently with the SPC's enhanced risk. But yeah, that's our first drop. Then you have a second piece of like energy. where this thing really becomes amplified and just gets going here across this entire region. And I mean, this whole body of red here, this entire area, I mean, this is where the jet stream could be blowing anywhere from 70 to 85 miles per hour. Anywhere inside of that circled area, and that's a massive area. So this is why we could be dealing with a potentially outbreak of severe weather. But that is an absolutely massive trough that slowly starts to kind of fail, and then we're going way out into the future. But this is what we're looking at. It's this trough. It's this one trough that just it gets everything unsettled. Okay, and that's our number one priority is to keep you guys updated on this, and we just got to continue watching what the models talk about this. So far, honestly, with the dynamics, I don't think the GFS is showing anything that's too concerning to me. If this were strengthened, I would be more concerned because this is not the strongest this is not the strongest of jet streams I've seen with severe weather events. But obviously we can't tell how strong a severe weather event will be just looking at dynamics. So that brings us to our next part of the update. We look at thermodynamics, CAPE. All right, CAPE levels show you basically what the thunderstorm juice levels are. CAPE, if you don't know already, means convective allowing potential energy. And what I would consider enough CAPE to spark severe storms, or at least thunderstorms, would be pretty much over 1,000. That would be able to spark at least some regular non-severe thunderstorms. But we're going to be looking at where the highest CAPE levels will be and where we could really see the outbreak occur. All right, so here we go. Going forward, this is getting into tomorrow. This is already 8 p.m. tomorrow, and you can see in this area, it's looking like we're talking about 2,000 to 2,500 joules per kilograms of CAPE. But if you look, I mean, where the enhanced risk is for tomorrow, it's all the way back here. There's just not that much CAPE out here. So this is a very odd setup. This is a setup that's actually relying on dynamics instead of thermodynamics. Because, I mean, Davis, you're seeing this. This is not. I mean, usually when you get these enhanced risks, usually you have CAPE levels way up to like 3,000 joules per kilograms. But we're struggling to get over 2,000 here. What would you like to note about that? Just how not only is it just a very low CAPE level in general, but also how it's in an area that doesn't usually see severe weather.
It's just like a lot of these severe weather events in the spring, it feels like CAPE is never the issue, all right? There's always enough CAPE, especially when you're talking about Texas. But no, I definitely think that this event tomorrow definitely does have that potential to be a bust, which is why I'm not expecting anything like ridiculously crazy, is because there's not really any trigger for this severe weather event that's like major, all right? There's decent severe weather ingredients all across the board, but there's nothing crazy. And then whenever you add in that somewhat lackluster CAPE, it's rough, all right? We may not see too much tomorrow, but then again, there is always that chance that we see a strong tornado or something and everybody's mind is blown. So yeah.
Yeah, I actually really like how you put it. I do think that I agree with Davis 100% that this could end up really being a bust. But I mean, you could just see how low these CAPE levels are, and obviously, CAPE is not the one thing that severe weather relies on. But getting into the night of tomorrow, this is tomorrow night. You have CAPE levels that are settling at around 2,000 joules per kilograms. That's going to be helping that line of thunderstorms thrive as it moves across the rest of the deep south. And then we get into May 5th, which should be Sunday. This is Sunday, and you can see this is the reason why we don't have a slight or enhanced risk at the moment. It's just because we have very, very low CAPE levels. That may hint that we could be talking about more of a thermodynamics relying setup for our next severe weather event that comes in. And so here we go. This is May 6th. Okay, this is Tuesday, so this is wow, skipped ahead. Wait a minute. Hold on. I'm very confused at the moment. All right, this is 2 p.m. Monday. I mean, but Davis, I mean, I'm confused, okay? We have an enhanced risk. This is Monday, right?
Yeah.
The enhanced risk is for Monday, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just surprised because for the past outbreaks, I feel like we've been talking about CAPE being like ridiculously high, but I'm just not seeing that high of cape levels out here.
I mean, there's a decent amount there. Or I feel like with the I don't know. I mean, there's a decent amount there, but no specific spots really high. I feel like.
Yeah, it's interesting. All right, this that was an interesting move by the SPC, but I mean, we have an area of like 2,000 joules, 2,000, 2,500 joules per kilograms. That's in this area, but I mean, I'm not seeing anything that's really concerning me as far as cape levels go. So I just want to note that it's just kind of this is going to be a very hard forecast. I'll just say that right now. But this is 2 p.m. This is when the highest, just threat level of severe weather will be for our enhanced risk day of Monday. And then it gets really intense Monday night. Look at 8 p.m. Monday night. We finally start to see just you know a rise in this cape levels, and we actually get up to 4,000 joules per kilograms right there in between Texas and Oklahoma. That's 4,000 right there. That is considered crazy high. We don't usually see 4,000 joules per kilograms. Okay, this if this were to play out a little bit earlier, this is when I would be a lot more concerned because not only do you have extremely high cables, but look at that dry line. You have an intense dry line that all of a sudden forms right across, really going all the way up from central Kansas down through Oklahoma, all the way down to Texas. Super slowly going to be driving across that dry line, and I do think that that may end up forcing the severe threat to continue into the night, or we could have a threat for tornadoes across. It's looking like eastern Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas, getting into Monday night and then into Tuesday. I think that's where we could have a elevated tornado threat, and that's where the enhanced risk may end up getting extended. All right. And then finally, as we get into Wednesday, holy cow! Oh my gosh.
You can tell how much we rehearsed this forecast.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, sorry. I'm sorry, guys. Anyways, I was just surprised because, I mean, if you see this could be the GFS overdoing things, but the GFS at this point is showing cables that are getting up to 4,500 joules per kilograms, which is considered absolutely insane. Davis, I just want to hear your thoughts on this.
The funny thing is that like Wednesday is like a slight risk, all right, and I did not realize that the Cape levels were this insane, all right, especially on the most recent run. I don't know if it just got way higher, but I don't remember them being that crazy. And I know I've looked at Cape somewhat recently. That was through the Windy app, but I don't remember what model I was using, but I know that it wasn't too crazy, which is why I said actually that Wednesday would probably be the least out of all of our slight risk days that we have coming. But apparently the GFS is just throwing all this Cape out there, and I mean that is just like absolutely ridiculous. Like again, there's gonna be no struggle when it comes to Cape for this event. All right, like all of a sudden, like Monday night, right, we really started to see that very obvious dry line form with a ton of Cape off to the east of it. And then since then, I mean, they've just been spitting out 4,000, 4,500. I wouldn't even be surprised if there was a spot in there that they were forecasting 5,000 joules per kilogram for that we just didn't see. So very insane Cape levels.
Yeah, this is crazy. I mean, it's funny because if you look at the enhanced risk day, the 30%, this is the when the highest threat of severe weather will be. This is 2 p.m. So this is midday, mid afternoon, on the 30% enhanced risk day. I mean, we're only getting up to like 2,000 joules per kilograms, but then if you go to the slight risk day, you get up to like 5,000. So that's just it's going to be a hard forecast. I'll just say that. All right. But we'll continue this out just a little bit longer. Gosh, the moisture return on this looks monstrous. Okay, so we'll continue to post updates here on along the way on this storm, but I mean it's gonna be a tricky one. But that is just absolutely insane with cave levels there on the GFS. All right, so we go over to the GFS. Just look at your surface. I don't really mean to look too much like too in depth with this, but to give you the overview, I mean, there's your first severe weather event. That's gonna be for tomorrow. Here comes your second one. That's for Sunday, and then we get into Monday. This is Monday's event. Um, what? Wait, okay. I'm getting very confused, guys. But
The GFS though, to be fair, it's not like super high res. It doesn't predict as intense as it could be.
Yeah, so there will be storms in here. It's just the GFS, and there may even be something wrong with the GFS a little bit tonight. But anyways, you do get a few runs severe weather. I mean, that's just kind of the overview of what we've got. All right, I wanted to take a look at temperatures because we have been so hot recently. It's been crazy. Look at the deep south. You're in the 80s, getting up to 90 degrees, and it's 8 p.m. So this is evening time temperatures, and for some of us, we're in the 80s. Okay, so let's get to tomorrow, and let's go back here. Let's go back right here.
I'm getting sunburned just looking at that.
Oh my gosh, look at southern Texas getting up to like 91 degrees. It is May 3rd. Okay, May 3rd. We're not supposed to be getting up to 90 degrees. That's supposed to be for like June, July, and so forth. All right, that is just crazy heat. That's absolutely insane. But the country is absolutely baking, and just to show you what the temperature pattern will look like in the next few days, the east is going to stay very warm, but the west, look at the west.
I saw 108 in far southern Texas on May
8th. Oh my gosh, that is crazy. But the west should start to heat up according to the GFS past May 9th. This is when this is probably when the whole country is gonna really start to warm up. But just to show you how crazy these temperatures are. And finally, for the last part of the update, we are back. We look at the hurricane season. Alright, so to give you guys an overview of what we've got, we're in May, so that means that the hurricane season will start in less than a month. The hurricane season will officially start on June 1st, which is it 27 or is it 28 days away? Or oh my gosh, is it 27?
28 or 29, either one.
Oh, 28 or 29, I'm not sure. But anyways, this is the forecast from the College of this is Colorado State University. Guys,
we're struggling today, guys. We're struggling.
I am super tired. But anyways, this is their hurricane forecast. This is so alarming and disturbing that I thought I should show this to you guys. So, they're expecting 23 named storms, which is past hyperactive. They are expecting 115 days where we'll have a named storm in the Atlantic Basin. 11 hurricanes. I mean, that's just crazy. Look at the averages. The average for named storms is 14.4. They're expecting almost double that. Look at the named storm days. It's supposed to be right around 70. They're expecting 115. All right, hurricanes, they're expecting 11. 45 days where we will have a hurricane. That's what they're expecting. They're expecting us to have 45 days during the summer where there will be a hurricane in the basin. They're expecting 5 major hurricanes and 13 major hurricane days. That is just mind-boggling. But I think this is just the worst part of it. Look at the ACE. They're expecting 210 ACE. Okay, so that's basically accumulated cyclone energy. It basically just shows you the level of intensity for that specific hurricane season. But that is just crazy. We do not see. I don't think we've seen any season that has gotten over 200 ACE. I might be wrong on that, but anyways, that is just considered historic. So you see how aggressive this is. All right. And there are a ton of well-known meteorologists out there who are explaining basically the same thing. Look at this right here. This is an ad, or actually it might not even be, but this shows the latest seasonal forecast from the Canadian model. Continues to highlight extremely favorable atmospheric and oceanic conditions for the peak of Atlantic hurricane season, including a La Nina and warm Atlantic wind shear and weak wind shear and enhanced precipitation. Those are all signs of a very intense hurricane season. So I'm just gonna say it now. We may end up with a hyperactive and potentially historic hurricane season. I'm just gonna end the update right there. All right. So thank you all for tuning in. I apologize for all the bumps in the road. I'm so tired. I haven't done an update in a while. Davis, thank you for helping me out with this one. I'll continue to keep you guys posted on what we see or with this severe weather event. And don't forget to tune into Davis. He'll be doing live coverage every day for these severe weather events. Tune into Ryan Hoyle. Either one does great, excellent coverage. But yeah, continue to watch me. Subscribe to Davis. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and I will see you guys in the next video.